Oh my gosh. Hi, everyone. By everyone, I mean the friends that I'm going to force to watch this. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I had an amazing reading year, and I wanted to commemorate with a video highlighting my top books of 2021. My goal at the start of this year, January 2021, was to read 100 books in this year. I did fall short. I only read 88, but I'm still really proud of myself. And if it wasn't for my first semester of college and like not reading anything the first couple of months, I would have met my goal. So thanks a lot, St. Olaf. But yeah, so in this video, I'm going to name my top 10 books of this year and talk a little bit about them. My friends or just people that I talk to always say, oh, like, yeah, I don't read a lot. I don't really like reading. And you know what my answer for that is? You just haven't found a good book. So I am going to help you find good books, and hopefully one of these will speak to you. My favorite genre is literary fiction, but I include a little bit of romance, fantasy, memoir, poetry. So there's something for everyone, and I hope you will keep watching. I hope this video is helpful. I also don't own most of the books that I talk about, or I do own them, but they're in my room in Northfield, and I don't have access to that room, so I'll just be putting pictures on one of the corners, probably this corner. I don't know. I don't know how to edit videos. I don't know how to make videos. This is going to be interesting. Okay, so the first book I want to talk about is called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is a fantasy, has some elements of fantasy, but it's about this, I want to say 20-year-old girl who's born in 1400s in rural England, right? A long, long time ago, and she really doesn't like her life. She's, forced to marry and that whole thing, and has very limited roles. And she makes a deal with the devil. And so she doesn't age, and she stays her age forever. But the catch, no one remembers her. So as soon as she exits a room, or as soon as someone she's talking to or someone she has a relationship with is not in the same room as her, they forget she exists. So this poses some problems. Her family doesn't know who she is, her parents, her friends. So she isn't able to sustain any relationships with anyone for longer than she'll hang out with someone, sleep with someone, and then the next morning they don't know who she is because they've closed their eyes. So it's when they're not looking at her, they forget who she is. And so it just follows her life through the present day. And so, she lives for hundreds and hundreds of years just kind of traveling and exploring. But it gets very lonely for her. And then she meets someone who remembers who she is. She steals something from his shop because that's what she does, because they don't remember who she is, right? She leaves and they forget that anything was stolen. The next day she comes back to do it again. He was like, you hoe, you just robbed my store yesterday. She's like, oh my god, do you remember who I am? And so it's such a good book. All these books are really good books. But yeah, highly recommend reading it. This book is called Crying in H Mart. It's about a Korean American woman who is in her mid-20s. She actually is the singer in Japanese Breakfast, which is a band. But it's basically about her mom and her relationship with her mom, and her mom passes away before she writes this book, which prompts her to write this book. And just about her complex relationship with her mom and how it's been around food and Korean food, and that's always something that her mom and her bonded over. And her mom is, kind of hard on her, but she always showed her love through cooking food. And it's really sad, and it makes you want to go hug your mom. But the way she describes Korean food makes me want to go eat some. It was just beautifully written and really touching, and I recommend it if you're looking for a memoir that will make you love your mom even more than you already do. Next, we have Lemon Tree. This is a hefty book. It's like 500 pages, not for everyone, but it is a nonfiction work that tells you a lot about the Palestinian Iraq conflict. It's something that, like, I mean, there's always stuff happening between those two countries, or not even countries, but those two groups of people. But I think like a couple of months ago, there was like a new thing. I don't know. And it spurred me to want to find out more, because everyone always says, like, oh, it's complicated. And like, I knew the basics, you know, that after World War II, Britain like felt really bad. And so they like gave like that land to Jewish people. And the like Palestinians were like, excuse me, this is where we live. You can't just kick us out. But obviously it's a very nuanced topic. And this book was beautifully written. It follows the story of a Jewish girl and a Palestinian boy. And he grows up in his house, which is the house with the lemon tree. And then he gets kicked out. And so he has to relocate. And then years later, he comes back to the house and finds a girl living there with like the lemon tree. And it's beautiful and very touching. And it like reads like a novel, but it's nonfiction and just teaches you so much. And I don't know, reading about like those kind of books about like current topics that are happening in the world, I feel like is a really good way to learn new information and keep yourself educated. And then when some like dick relative is talking about the stupid like Palestinians and how I'm just so ungrateful, you can be like, well, actually, and you can just hit them with some facts. So yes, if you're looking for a nonfiction book that tells you a lot about the Palestinian-Iraq conflict, go read The Lemon Tree. Persuasion. That is the book we're going to talk about right now. Persuasion by Jane Austen, the shortest of Jane Austen's books. I got Bridget a beautiful edition of this as her going away present for college. So it's short, which is nice because Jane Austen takes a lot of energy to read, right? This is like 200 pages or so. Oh my god, I have the book. This is one of the books that I actually do have. Persuasion. This makes it look a lot bigger than it actually is. The last chunk is like a memoir of Jane Austen. We don't care about her life. So pretty short. And it is the most touching love story ever. It is, because Pride and Prejudice is a lot of like, they don't even kiss in the book, right? Like there's not a lot to go off of. But there is the most beautiful love letter written in here. And it's basically about this girl and her relationship with this soldier that she saw briefly, and it's just like there's some miscommunication, there's lots of back and forth, but all you need to know is that it is a beautiful love story. And if you want to read Jane Austen, read Persuasion. My favorite Jane Austen book. I also read Pride and Prejudice this year. As I said, I read all of them except Mansfield Park, and this one by far the best. So if you're looking for Jane Austen, Persuasion. Next, Colleen Hoover. Meekin, I hope you're watching this. It Ends With Us. I believe, Meekin, this is one of the ones you have not read. This is the only Colleen Hoover that I do own. This was the first Colleen Hoover that I ever read, and it made it on my Goodreads books that have changed my life, like folder or album or whatever. I'm just going to read the synopsis from the back. Lily hasn't always had it easy, but that's never stopped her from working hard for the life she wants. She's come a long way from the small town in Maine where she grew up. She graduated from college, moved to Boston, and started her own business. So when she feels a spark with a gorgeous neurosurgeon named Ryle Kincaid, everything in Lily's life suddenly seems too good to be true. Ryle is assertive, stubborn, maybe even a little arrogant. He's also sensitive, brilliant, and has a total soft spot for Lily. But Ryle's complete aversion to relationships is disturbing. As questions about her new relationship overwhelm her, so do thoughts of Alice, her first love and a link to the past she left behind. He was her kindred spirit, her protector. When Atlas suddenly reappears, everything Lily has built with Ryle is threatened. This book you will read in a day. It is the easiest thing to read. If you are in a reading slump, read this book right now. Go get it. Go buy it. Amazon, independent bookstore. I don't care. Find this book and read it. It might not be your favorite book. It's a little... I mean, I adore this book, but reading other Colleen Hoover books, I mean, the writing is a little... It's not like super complex. But Colleen Hoover is one of my favorite authors just because she's so easy to read. And when I was in a reading slump, like at college this semester, I picked up Verity, another one of Colleen Hoover's books, and I read it in a day in college. My roommate was like looking at me like, "Are you depressed, Meg?" And I'm like, "No, I'm reading Colleen Hoover. Leave me alone." So yes, It Ends With Us. Highly recommend. Next book is Homegoing. This is by Ya Gyasi. This is just a masterpiece. It is very different than It Ends With Us. It's beautifully written and very sad. I'm going to read the synopsis on the back cover. Ghana, 18th century. 2 half-sisters are born into different villages, each unaware of the other. One will marry an Englishman and lead a life of comfort in the palatable rooms of the Cape Coast castle. The other will be captured in a raid on her village, imprisoned in the very same castle, and sold into slavery. Homegoing follows the parallel paths of these sisters and their descendants through 8 generations, from the Gold Coast to the plantations of Mississippi, from the American Civil War to Jazz Age Harlem. Ya Gyasi's extraordinary novel illuminates slavery's troubled legacy, both for those who were taken and those who stayed. So it just kind of shows how what the impact of an event in 18th century can have a lasting impact on their future descendants and future generations, and how such a little difference in where someone was at a certain place in time can just change everything for these people. So this is just a stunning book. She also wrote Transcendent Kingdom, which I prefer Homegoing to Transcendent Kingdom, but read this. Everyone needs to read this. She is a beautiful writer. The book tells a tale of Evelyn Hugo, and it tells her life through her 7 husbands. She is a bad bitch who's just leaving men left and right, and I just love her. But through it, it tells her relationship with the woman she actually does love, and she just is at the end of her life, and so she wants to kind of make amends and tell her story for someone. She's not there, someone will know. But this book is also a little bit like It Ends With Us. Maybe not the most complex, intelligent writing, but it's an amazing book and will get you out of any reading slump. And I highly recommend it. It is, I don't think it's my favorite book ever, but it's definitely in my top 3. So yes. We have our poetry part of the top 10. Homebody, Rupi Kaur. This is the only Rupi book that I own. Me and my friends talk about how much we love her. Okay, I'm just gonna read one of my favorite poems. I sent this to all my friends last night, so this is a repeat, but I'm too in love with my life to be spilling all over the floor for the next man who gives me butterflies when I could look in the mirror and take my own breath away. Yes! Yes! Yes. Just yes. It's very beautiful. It's very motivational. Oh, wait. I have one more that I have to read. Come on. Come on. Wait, where is this one? Oh, here we go. Masturbation is meditation. Also, yes. So yes, read Rupi. It's makes you appreciate life. She's beautiful in the way she captures feelings. And it just makes you realize that other people are feeling the same things that you are. And it's just like read a poem a night. Yeah, Rupee. Go by Rupee. We're at number 9. 2 books to go. My beautiful friend Bridget got me this edition for Christmas. Wuthering Heights. Yes. This book is also in my top 3 favorite books ever. This book is everything. I read this spring of 2021, and I loved it so much that it inspired me to apply for a conversation program at my school, which I ended up doing. Do I regret doing it? Yes, so maybe we hate this book. Just kidding. But Wuthering Heights is just about the cycle of abuse. It's very sad. It's very like messed up. Like you kind of hate all of the main characters. But that's what I love about it, because I love reading sad things. I love being sad. I love sitting in my sadness. Sad music, sad books, sad movies. Something kind of like cathartic about it. But this book is just like, it's very heavy and it's very dense and it's kind of thick. The synopsis, I just rambled for 2 minutes about how much I love the book. But Wuthering Heights is narrated by an unfortunate traveler, a man who stumbles across these families, and he, through the housekeeper, learns about these 2 lovers, you might call them Heathcliff and Catherine, and about the lives that they lived and how, due to unfortunate circumstances, they were forced to live their lives apart. And you meet Catherine's daughter and Heathcliff's, just like you meet their family, because Catherine and Heathcliff are no longer alive. So you, through the housekeeper, because the maids know everything, you learn about the lives that they led and the people they were and their story. And so you kind of jump back between the past and the present, and you uncover a lot about just the family and all the messed up stuff that happened at Thrushcross Grange. One thing, the imagery, beautiful, because it takes place in England, so just lots of like spooky and darkness and rain, and stunning book. Okay, that's it. We're at number 10. Yay! This book came out fall of 2021, so I was already moved into college, and I like didn't really know about the book, which is crazy because it's by my favorite author ever. And when I found out, I was like, oh my God. And I walked, this was like the second week of school, I walked from my college to downtown Northfield to the little bookstore and bought the book and spent like $27. And I was so happy. And it took me almost a month to read because I just did not have any time. But I loved it. And I have a copy, but it's at St. Olaf, so I don't have it right now. Beautiful World, Where Are You? By Sally Rooney. This book, I love Sally Rooney. She wrote Normal People. She wrote Conversations with Friends. She has a short story, and then she has Beautiful World, Where Are You? This is like my ideal book. Like, I Google books like Beautiful World, Where Are You? Or books written by authors like Sally Rooney. It's literary fiction. It's pretty sad. Like, there are mixed feelings. The reviews on Goodreads, like, for Sally Rooney as a whole, are like below 4 stars, which is crazy to me because I gave 5 stars for all her books. Actually, only Conversations with Friends and Beautiful World, Where Are You? Normal People was a 4-star. But this book tells the story of 2 best friends. One is in like Ireland, one is in London, maybe, I don't know, like they're kind of close to each other, but not living in the same city. And they like went to college together, very close, and they're both just like dealing with their own kind of things, and they write emails to each other. And so you hear about each of their individual lives, and then you hear about their correspondence. And they're kind of unlikable characters, like I don't know, but I like that. And they're both like dealing with their the stupid men in their lives. Don't even get me started on men. But it's also very, you know, reassuring to know that people in their late 20s and 30s also cannot just like men. So that's kind of nice. But I love her writing style. She's very like, she uses a lot of imagery in her writing, and it just paints beautiful pictures. And like I said, it took me like a month to read, but I never felt like I would read, you know, a chapter a night, and then the next day I would pick it up right where I left off, and it was really easy to get back into it. Includes my video. Yay! A lot harder than I thought, but I have a new admiration for YouTubers. I guess I am a YouTuber now, so that's pretty cool. If you get one thing from this video, it is the incentive to go get a book and read it. Maybe one that I recommended, maybe one that you've heard somewhere else. Make a Goodreads account. It's super fun. Go follow me on Goodreads. I have 2 followers, Bridget and Anna. I would love to have more followers. Reading can be just beautiful and take you into a new world, and I love books, and you will never go through all the books, so that's pretty fun. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your break, a great January. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you to my amazing friends who I sent this link to and forced you into watching. Love all the support. Yes. Okay. Peace. Love.